Welcome to this short video which demonstrates the capabilities of the TermSet platform. TermSet is a revolutionary new product that uses natural language processing to enrich SharePoint content by automating accurate and consistent metadata in 9 languages. TermSet builds and maintains an entire information architecture for SharePoint content. In this demonstration, we've taken 100 pharmaceutical documents from a file share and placed them in a SharePoint library. Currently, as you can see, there is no metadata applied to the content whatsoever. We also haven't had to prepare any taxonomies or any other information. Once TermSet has processed these documents, the library will change from this view at the moment with no cite columns to a far more enriched view that you can see on your screen now. So we've added in the manufacturer of the pharmaceutical, health conditions that are mentioned, quantities within the documents, and also the drugs that are mentioned within each of the documents. TermSet has automated this entire process, and we'll now see the steps that it took. Okay, so here is the TermSet application, and effectively there are 3 phases for getting that document library from 0 metadata to having the cite columns, taxonomies built, and the metadata applied to the documents themselves. The first phase is what we call discovery. That's a read-only process that allows us to look at all of the content within a document library or a collection of document libraries and analyze what potential metadata could be in there. Second is we have an analysis phase, which allows you to understand what TermSet discovered. And finally, there is the enrichment phase that allows you to create the entire information architecture in SharePoint. Let's look at each one in turn. If we go to the discovery elements, effectively we create what we call a discovery configuration. You can add as many of these as you wish. Here is the configuration job for the pharmaceutical document library that we saw a moment earlier. What we'll find within this particular library, or this particular job rather, is where should we look? So here we've got the source libraries within this site collection. I've just selected one particular library. We have, what type of documents would you like us to read? So we can read all versions of Office documents. We can read PDF documents, message files, checkpoint lists including their attachments, and many more file types. If you have existing taxonomies, we're able to ingest and cross-reference those as part of our discovery process. So I could select existing term sets and bring them in as part of this process. And here's where the options for our engine are. The first tick box allows us to use our natural language processing engine to define these potential new entities for your content. The second piece is we are able to deliver sentiment analysis, so particularly for correspondence, emails, or other types of documents. We could give a score of between -100 and +100 as to whether overall sentiment of the document is negative or positive. We can also do language analysis. So we can create a column in the library and write back the language that the document is written in. We can also write metadata back in 9 languages today. So we can identify 102 languages, and we can write metadata in 9 column languages today. Finally, we also have auto-summarization available, so we can, by ticking this box, say, read each document, and generate a summary of, say, 3 sentences. So I can have a 100-page document and create a single paragraph which will accurately summarize the content in real language and apply that as metadata. That can be valuable in many ways. Another element where you can customize this for your specific requirements is by using our pattern matching technology. On the left-hand side, we've provided a number of default patterns, so we've created a number of patterns for you. For example, we can find credit card numbers, bank account numbers, or car registrations. Probably more powerful is you also have the ability to define your own custom patterns. So if you have things like part numbers, reference numbers, client matter numbers, or if you're looking to, for example, extract values from documents. So taking the totals from invoices, you are able to describe them using our custom patterns, and we'll extract that, build taxonomies, and write that information back as metadata. So once that job's configured and run, we will effectively read your unstructured data and create a database which is all of the structured metadata that's available to you. So we haven't written anything back to SharePoint at this point, and we haven't critically transferred anything out of SharePoint either. We're just reading an encrypted, anonymized, compressed version and creating this database. The database can be stored back on your private as your tenant, as you require. We provide a full analysis engine just for Remedy today. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but we have a processing metrics which talk at the entire library level or configuration job level of what we've discovered. I'll just show you one figure in here. So as you recall, there were 100 of the patient information leaflets. We have lots of stats in here. Just to give you a feel, from those 100 patient information leaflets, we've identified 2,300 potential pieces of information which are candidates for metadata. So over 230 on average per document. And these documents are only 2 pages. So we recognize a vast amount of information automatically. As part of the project, you would probably spend time in our Content Explorer, which allows you to look at a document level at the metadata we've discovered. So you can understand before you begin to apply it back at a document level exactly what's within there. So I can view each of these documents. And then by clicking More, I can explore the metadata. Once we're comfortable with all of the data that has been identified by TermSet, it's now time to begin the enrichment. So we're going to build the information architecture. So realistically, this could often be many months doing this manually, or even with technology. TermSet enables this process to happen in hours, not days. It's a very rapid process. It's fully automated. However, you remain in control at every stage. We are really mapping as if you are doing this manually. If you have a team of consultants who can read all your documents, build taxonomies, create all of the site columns, and then add the metadata to each document manually. So the first block is the taxonomy mapping itself. Let's take a look in here. So what we'll see are all of the potential candidate taxonomies that we can write for this library. There's going to be a lot of them. Not all of them will be applied typically, and we're scoring them so that these are descending by relevancy. So we can see all of these leaflets pretty much have company names, quantities, health conditions, city, drugs, person and country, because they all contain addresses, or most of them. So all of those will be highly valuable. There will be many more down here that only apply to a few of the documents. You probably wouldn't create taxonomies or tag because so few of the documents would actually contain information. What we can do is look at any of these and understand the particular terms within it there. So let's have a look at drugs. So we've read all of these, and we've created a potential taxonomy of all of the drugs names within these documents. So I'll just pick one of these at random. So here it says, here are all the drugs names I've found within this library, and how many times they've matched. You would probably want to quickly check and make sure this looks correct. Deselect any that you don't think are correct, but this is highly reliable and accurate in terms of how it matches these entities automatically. Once you're ready, we are able to create these taxonomies automatically for you. The top section of the screen here allows you to place them into a group should you wish. You can call it whatever you wish, or you could map to an existing term set. So you could split these out. You could add some terms. You could build your own hierarchies. Once you've clicked Apply on this, in real time, you will see the term stores being built out. If I show you in the Term Store Manager, I've put them all in this auto-generated group. We'll have all of our taxonomies here. So here's my city, company, drugs, health conditions, person, and quantity. They are all written back in just exactly as if you were to be adding them manually. So that's the first stage. Effectively is to create the taxonomies that you think are appropriate to this particular library. Then I'm ready to go. The next section we would look to do is now creating site columns and map those site columns back to those libraries. We call that structural alignment. The structural alignment will allow you to either go through your taxonomies and see where they should be applied, or to go through your lists and libraries and see what taxonomies should be applied. We call that either a top-down or bottom-up view. I'll show you both views. This is the bottom-up view. I'll switch to the top-down view, and here I'm looking in my taxonomy and I can see all of my new term sets. And within here, it's making recommendations to the libraries. I've actually applied these libraries as to where they would go. When I click Apply on this, it will create the site columns for me and map them to the right areas. So now, at this stage of the enrichment, we've discovered all our documents. We've created the taxonomies, and we've created the site columns linked back to those term sets. No tags have been applied just yet. That's the final phase of the enrichment. Let's take a look at that. We have applying the entities themselves, which we call managed metadata. And we also have what we call free-form metadata. That's where we apply summaries, the language, and the sentiment. Clicking on these, literally you just pick the terms that you wish to add. And I can show you that right now. So these are the site columns that are in this library already. So all I'm saying now is, okay, apply metadata tags to each one of those. So if we go back to our library now, this was how it started out, with none of that metadata. We ran the discovery in TermSet. It built us a database of all the potential terms and taxonomies. We then created the taxonomies. We then added the site columns, and then finally we hit the button to apply all the metadata tags themselves to each of those documents. All of those steps happen in real time, apart from metadata tagging. That happens in an asynchronous manner, and you will see documents being tagged. So if you hit refresh on your browser whilst you are running, you'll see the tags being added one by one. But it's a very rapid process to apply these tags. And again, we can now see here are the site columns that we've added, and with all of the terms. Sometimes multiple terms, and sometimes just one term. Occasionally, we might find an empty field, but quite rarely. Because we applied all of these were highly relevant taxonomies, so we know most of these documents would be tagged. That's the end of the demonstration. Just to reiterate, although we've used pharmaceutical content today, the platform is not a pharmaceutical solution or any other type of domain solution. We didn't need to prepare anything here. We understood what was inside the documents and created those term sets. So if we were in an entirely different industry or vertical, we would have entirely different results at that point. Thank you very much for your time.